Okay, once again, it's your man, Odell Dova, Houston FinTech, your financial guru. Money Matters 101, Lesson 4. Lesson 4. Lesson 3 was about credit. Lesson 4 is going to be we've done 1, 2, and 3, and we're doing great. You're fitting the profile, you're in the program. Fair weather. Everything's good. You're within that 60% budget. You're establishing or have established excellent credit. And so now what do we do with what we're doing? What do we do with the 40% that we're maintaining in reserve for those two generations up the road, right? So the basics on that is going to be that 40% is going to give us the capacity to do two things. One, absorb emergencies, absorb trials, absorb sickness, illness, loss of income, loss of job, business slowdowns and turnarounds. It's going to be able to do that for us. More importantly, it's going to be able to set us up for the future and the future generations. Okay? So here's how that works. In that 40% that we reserve from our budget, everything's going good. We want to break that up into 20% and 20%. 20% liquid, available, cash, savings account, some immediate liquidity, where in case of illness, loss of income, whatever you need to do to protect your credit, protect your family, protect yourself, help in some immediate need, you have 20% that you've been setting aside from every form of income that is immediately available same day to address those needs and concerns. The other 20%, we want to lock away in less liquid form, in a form where if we need it, we can access it, but more importantly, it is truly, truly dedicated to establishing the legacies going forward, right? So in that 20%, we think of passive future income. We're thinking of our retirement. We're thinking of the kids' college funds. We're thinking of the legacy beyond the kids, our kids' head start. Okay? And so some of the tools that we would put that 20% in would be investments, right? I personally love tangible investments. In other words, I like property, real estate, things I can see, touch, put my hands on, and use if I need to, right? If I buy a house as an investment, worst case scenario is I have to live in it. But it's tangible, touchable, usable. Other people like to do the stock market. Other people like to do options. Other people like to do annuities, right? One of the great tools that you can use to immediately advance the next generation or give them a head start would be life insurance, whole life insurance, right? Or term life insurance with cash benefit. I typically would say I prefer whole life with cash benefit because if used correctly, you can actually sometimes use the cash off of the benefit to do some other progressive things, aggressive investment type of thing, while maintaining the safety net of the value of the life insurance. And that's something I would suggest you go to your insurance agent and have a great discussion with them about whole life insurance versus term life insurance, about cash values and borrowing against or pulling out cash. There are so many wonderful forms of life insurance in which you can really set up the next generation that is a great, great tool. I like annuities. I like annuities from the standpoint of there's a fixed return. Okay, the key to that is the cost of those annuities. So you want to look at, again, getting with whoever your financial advisor is, if it's not a moi, and talk to them about using annuities to set up future compensation in your retirement, kids' college funds, and the next generation. Okay? So 20% liquid in some savings account, in some quickly accessible liquid form. It could be in an investment such as real estate or something like that, because you can always borrow against the real estate. Remember, we've done the right things previously. We're disciplined in our spending and in our uh, patterns of and our budget, right? So if you've done the right things, we've built excellent credit. Our name means something. Our word means something. So if you do invest in real estate, that could be very liquid from the standpoint of, even though you don't sell it, you can always borrow against it. So we have to, excellent credit is an awesome tool to have available and be liquid really, really quickly, okay? So that being said, in this 40%, in this lesson, we really want to cover the 40%, establishing passive income, establishing future income, and establishing a legacy income, okay? And so we're going to say 20% is going to be for immediate need. It can be in the form of investment, cash in a savings account, stocks, it could be bonds, anything where you can access those funds immediately in case of an emergency of health, an emergency of protecting your good name, your credit, having to deal with some emergency or tragedy. And then another 20% that's not going to be as liquid, because it's going to be in the form of life insurance, annuity, some future passive income that's set aside to where, yes, can it be made liquid, but a little bit more difficult to make it liquid, because its purpose is going to be further down the road. It's going to take care of you when you're looking at your golden years, when you're looking at being able to travel and vacation and do whatever you want to do, when you're looking at how do I get all of these kids through college, how do I help my son or daughter establish their business or open the doors to whatever opportunity they want to open. That's what that hard 20% is going to do. And again, life insurance, annuities, um, real estate, anything that's going to give long-term future revenues is where we're going to put that 20%. Okay? So in this lesson, we're talking about the 40% that we've reserved. And now you understand why it's so important to try your best to stick with that. Okay? Because that 40% is really got a lot of work to do. And if it's done right, the 20% that goes to hard assets and the 40% total can actually outdo the original 60% that you're living off of today. Take, for example, inflation. Just in the last 3 years, we've seen inflation go up so high that if a loaf of bread was $1 in 2020, it's $3 today, right? And so many of our basic essential cost factors have gone up 2.5, 300% in just the last 5 years. But those people who set aside that minimum 20% to 40% 20 years ago are still doing well and prospering, and their passive income is actually taking care of all of these crazy increases in inflation. So if you ever wonder why is it seniors, a lot of seniors are still doing well, they're maintaining their homes, they're riding around in Lexus and Mercedes, and you're like, well, wait a minute, when they were 20, a car cost $3,000, now the car they're driving costs 100. How is it they're maintaining, staying up with the inflation? It's because they made great decisions a while ago and had the discipline to not touch those funds, allow the seasons to change, and realize better days are ahead if we just stay the course. Okay? So 60% on daily use, 40% for future. That's the game plan. If you can stick to it, I promise you, you will absolutely be happy that you listened to me today if you can stick to it 20 years from now. I've been doing this about 30 years, so I've literally seen people get married, have children, and their children now being adults and grateful to God for the wisdom I gave them 28 years ago. So this is what I love to do. I hope it encourages you. It can be challenging sometimes to stick to 60%. If you sneak up to 65% every now and then, that's okay. But the main thing is to have that hard 20% and have as much of the next 20% as possible available in liquid funds in case of emergencies, but in liquid funds being things that are working as investments, right? Real estate, whatever it is that gives you a return on investment that you can quickly liquidate. Again, excellent credit. Excellent credit. I cannot stress this enough. Excellent credit is 100% always liquid. There are tons of banks that will be happy to see you if you have excellent credit. So in case of emergencies, if for some reason all of your funds are tied up in investments or slower things that just won't turn liquid in a day or two, excellent credit will still be there for you, right? So we don't want to use, so let me make sure I'm absolutely clear here. We run and we operate on 60% of our net income, with 40% going for future. We establish excellent credit for the purpose of having it available. And as we are establishing it, we're using it. But basically, we're borrowing it only to turn around and pay it back. We understand there's a little 2-3% charge the banks want to make off of that. But we're doing it as a tool to establish against future rainy days. We're not using credit to maintain balances, right? We're not going to have 6-7 credit cards all maxed out. We have excellent credit and we've got 20-30 unlimited credit cards. The purpose is not to have those maxed out. The purpose is to have them available, right? Ideally, under 20% balances with 80-90% availability, right? I pull 6 cards out of my pocket and each of them have $20, $30, $50,000 limits, and I'm 90% available on each of those. I should be able to withstand most storms. I want to get you in that position. It's going to take discipline. It's going to take being wise about our spending. It's going to take being wise about a lot of the frivolous spending that people tend to do when they're younger. But you can do it. Honestly, if you follow the plan, I have clients who have literally taken from what we call regular to rich in 5 to 7 years. It's a reliable program, right? It's a reliable financial method that I can plug almost any person with consistent income to at almost any reasonable income level. You don't have to be rich to get rich. You have to be disciplined, you have to have consistent income, and you have to be consistent in your direction and in your investments. I'm Odell Dova. Today's lesson has been about what to do with that other 40%. Creating passive income, establishing passive income within your risk tolerances, right? To look out for your future self, your future generations to come. Odell Dova, Houston FinTech, we're here for you. See you on lesson 5.